What's something very rare that people think is very common? Being aware. Waking up under general anesthesia. Most stories of this are MAC anesthetics where the patient is kept light and generally doesn't remember. But it isn't truly general anesthetic. If people really wake up under general anesthesia, they will have their eyes taped shut and a breathing tube in. They will also likely be paralyzed. It does happen, but it is extremely rare. Turquoise. I'm beginning study to be a jewelsmith, and apparently most of the turquoise on the planet has already been mined and used. What we use today is a stone called howlite that can visually imitate it. If it's real, it's likely hand mined from the few small mines remaining that have some left. Real turquoise is very expensive as a result. Edit. I goofed. Real turquoise is harder than its imitation. As a kid who grew up in the 80s, quicksand.
OCD.
Getting attacked by a shark. Wasabi. Being bitten by any venomous creature in Australia. It seems having two loving parents that treated you right is rare when you speak to people. Multi-million-dollar personal inconvenience lawsuits. You're not suing MCD for millions because your fries were cold. Writing code that executes on first compile. Having green eyes. Helium. Plane crashes. It has been statistically proven that the number of plane crashes pales in comparison to the number of car crashes. Yet, there's way more people who are afraid of flying than there are people who are afraid of driving. Ironically enough, with lots of the people who are afraid of flying having no problem with driving. Edit. Okay, so people seem to be mentioning the whole in control feeling. Just a heads up. I actually wanted to include stuff like taxis, buses, Ubers and whatnot with driving, in which you have about as much control as on a plane, with these options also being way less feared than planes, despite the fact that being in control no longer applies. Not entirely sure as to its actually rarity. But for me, vanilla. It's the go-to word for common, plain, or boring, when it's a pretty rare ingredient that's difficult to grow and only comes from a few places on Earth. Salmonella. Statistically, only about 1 in 20,000 eggs is contaminated with salmonella. Tourette syndrome. Well, Tourette is not that uncommon. But the swearing is the most extreme form, and it's very uncommon. Accidental pregnancies when using contraceptives properly according to instructions. Having a best friend. That one person you can trust with your life. Who is always there for you no matter what. Still looking for mine frowning face. Being able to buy a house in New Zealand. I see so many people wanting to immigrate here. Good luck with that. Murder. At least where I live anyway. People seem to think crime is everywhere and things were better in the good old days. But the stats say otherwise.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.